Okay. Hi, everyone. A very good morning to everyone who is present here. I am Shreyashi and I work as a full-time teacher with Instrucko. And I would like to thank everyone who has joined today. We are going to discuss something very important uh, that is happening right now with students, that is their exams. So, we are going to discuss the cause of the stress, the source of the stress that happens and occurs, and we are going to discuss all the different strategies that we can tell our students and children to apply and feel at ease during this very tough season for them, right? Hello, everyone. Hello. So, I, before beginning, I would like to play a video where you all can just watch what exactly happens and how this stress is uh, built up inside us and how that affects our thinking as well as how exactly a child feels when this stress is being there inside him, right? So let me just share my screen.
Exams are stressful.
Yeah,
But
fine now.
if we understand the science of how it works, we can make it work for us. When faced with a potentially stressful situation, angry parents, driving tests, or yes, exams, the danger sensor in our brains, the amygdala, is activated. This alerts the nearby hypothalamus, sending a long-range message via the pituitary gland to the adrenal glands, which secrete the hormones adrenaline and cortisol into our body. Adrenaline increases our blood flow, speeding up our reflexes and sharpening our senses, and cortisol releases glucose, giving our body vital extra energy. This response, known as fight or flight, is our body's way of preparing us to tackle big challenges. But when stress levels get too intense, they can trigger negative symptoms like difficulty focusing, tension headaches, nausea, and disturbed sleep.
The reason why we remember specific moments or movies is because they have been stored in our memory under the influence of emotions. When we win or fail, cry or celebrate, we learn fast, deep, and plenty. But when we are afraid, our brain limits our ability to think for a good reason. Fear is an emotion induced when we face a threat to our physical or psychological well-being. It causes a change in brain and organ functions, and ultimately in our behavior. First, we get stressed or aggressive, then we are left with three final ways out: freeze, fight, or flight. The reason for this is evolution. Over the last million years, we learned that when we meet a dangerous animal, we better freeze, fight, or run and hide. To save our life, this is now programmed in our genes. But something else happens. When it gets dangerous, a specific region of our brain, the amygdala, takes over. Its job is to protect us and save our life. To act fast, it refrains us from thinking and leaves us with only those three options. This makes creative and critical thought processes impossible. High pressure triggers a similar response. In one experiment, German neuroscientist Professor Dr. Hutter measured the brain function of young men playing a car racing game. The race was on, and the men eager to win. When the researchers later looked at the scans of the brain, they saw shockingly little activity. In fact, the young men hardly used their brains at all, and they certainly didn't remember much. Later, the researchers repeated the experiment. This time, they did not play the game themselves, but just watched from inside the car sitting next to the driver. Instead of focusing to win, they focused on a lot of other things: driving behavior, the racetrack, other cars. This time, the brain showed lots of activity. Learning happened and memories were created. The scientists concluded that when we panic at a maths exam or when a salesman fears he might miss his monthly target, it can create a tunnel vision. Then our vision field becomes smaller, our learning limited, and we cannot find the road to success.
Okay, so from this video, we can infer the scientific reason behind this very important and very common thing between not just children but us as well, that is stress. So there is a scientific reason behind it, and now we are going to discuss about the source of it. So now that we have understood the cause of our exam stress, we can discuss the source of an exam stress, right? So first of all, you'll have to understand from where the source of fear in your child is coming, right? Every child has their own weaknesses and strengths, and the source of fear stems from their weaknesses, right? So understanding the source of stress is as important as understanding the cause, right? So first step towards making it easier for them would be to ask them which subject or which portion is making them scared. Is it their time management, or is it a particular subject that they feel less confident about, or is it a particular topic that is becoming difficult for them, right? Every cause has a different approach to help them out. Now I'm going to discuss a few time management techniques for everyone, which you all can apply and start practicing with your children, maybe not in this exam season, but in the coming exam seasons. And these are quite useful and innovative as well. So the first one that I'm going to discuss about is the time capsule planning. So this is mostly a reward based practice that the student and the parents can do together. So here, what you have to ask your student to do is you'll have to ask them to take a box, a time capsule. It can be a box, a bag, anything that they want. And they are going to write down on a piece of paper all the things that they want to complete in a particular duration of time. So if they take a 1 hour time slot and then they write down all the particular things, all the chapters, all the subjects that they want to cover in that 1 hour, they write it down on a piece of paper. And you can encourage them to use colored papers and different pens for their visual aids and to make it interesting. So they write it down and they hand that box over to you. Now what you have to do from your end is to add a reward inside it. It can be anything that your child might find motivating or will consider as a reward. So you put that reward in, you add that little touch of reward, and then after that particular 1 hour, when the child gets back that time capsule, he can open it up and he can see how many tasks he has accomplished, right? And then the reward is the additional fun part of this particular time capsule planning method. So this is one of an innovative method that the students can start using. One second. Okay, so the next one is color-coded study blocks. So as we all know that visual aids make a much better impact on students, as well as they help them retain a lot. So any information, if put into a visual aid, will be remembered by every student in a much larger scale than something that they have read or something that they have written, right? So color coded study block is a method. It is a method where you implement a color coded study schedule where each subject or topic is assigned a different color. So now this can be made even more fun if you ask your students to color code by themselves. So for some students, maths is a very difficult topic. They can assign maths red color. For some students, maths is really easy, so they can assign them a green color. Any color that they feel will give them a sense of understanding that, okay, this subject needs my immediate attention, and that subject is something that I already have done, so I'll just need to revise. And you make a schedule like that and you put it in front of them in their study tables, or put it up on a wall where they can see it during their exam seasons. This is going to instantly make them aware of their study situation, right? So they can divide and they can sort out their topics as well as their subjects in a much better and planned manner before their exams. Also, this particular method includes all kinds of props and flashcards. The thing that we at Instrucko promote as well for every teacher here, and this is one of our very unique things that we implement in our classrooms as well, that is props and flashcards. So for flashcards, we use this color coded thing where we make sure that the flashcards are really visually aiding. There is a particular color to each topic. And for props, we try to use props that are most linked to the lessons that we teach, right? So these help the students to retain information and connect to the lesson, whatever they are studying, whatever they need to remember, in a much better way. Now, this technique is a scientifically proven technique, that is the Pomodoro Technique. So I'll tell you what the original technique is. This Pomodoro Technique involves breaking your work into short intervals, traditionally 25 minutes in length. So you do something, whatever thing that you are planning to do, for a stretch of 25 minutes straight. And then after 25 minutes, you take short breaks, that is of 5 minutes, right? And then you again start doing at stretch 25 minutes of your original work. And then you take a 5 minutes break. Now, why have I written with a twist? Is because for students, for children, what happens is if they take a break of 5 minutes and they completely shut their book and go and do something completely different from studying, they might not get that interest back after 5 minutes. For adults, it works differently. So in that 5 minutes break, sometimes even it is suggested for adults to take a power nap. But for students, I will suggest something else. That is the twist. So for students, I will suggest that 25 minutes of study session where they do the methodical studying that we all need to: reading, writing, revision, memorizing, and everything that is needed. But in that 5 minute break, what they do is they make it a themed interval, right? That theme should be related to the subject that they were doing for the 25 minutes. So for this, I will suggest they start doing worksheets, activity-based worksheets, the ones that are there with us, our lessons as well. So this is just an example which I would like to suggest. Since all of you are associated with Instrucko, you all have lessons, you all have access to lessons that they are completing here. And after each lesson, as you all know, that we have our gamified activities, which are very fun and very engaging for children. So in that 5 minute break, you can just let your child finish up 2 or 3 activities from our activity section. This is going to give them the sense that they are taking a break because they are not under the pressure of completing anything. They are just doing it for the sort of their brain, uh, to just give their brain a break from the 25-minute methodical studying that they have done. But even in the break, they are going to be in touch with the particular subject that they have been reading, right? So this is Pomodoro technique with a twist. This 25-minute is also the reason why we have kept our classes 30 minutes, because this is a scientifically proven fact that children has their attention span at the best for maximum 29 minutes, 28 to 29 minutes. So this 30 minutes, this 25 minutes or 30 minutes is going to be the best retention time for them to whatever they are studying in the methodical manner. And after that, for the 5 minutes, the break that they take is going to just give them a time to jog their memory and be in touch with something fun but related to study, maths quizzes, some brain teasers, or anything like that. So as you can see, here are some examples of the assessments that we have. These are very simple, but these are very fun as well. They help the child to think, and they cater to all kinds of need for the child: emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and all kinds of brain teasing formats are here. So we have all kinds of assessments for us children as well. So even you can make up some fun activities for the children. That is, give them a topic, ask them to think on that topic and think for 5 lines on that topic, and then speak on it with you. So all these are ways that you can make the break interesting as well for them. Next, I'll suggest a task-based playlist. I'm sorry, can I be excused for 5 minutes? Yeah, sorry. So the next thing that we are going to discuss is task-based playlist. This is again a very innovative and very fun for the children. Uh, Something that we have also started asking our children to do, asking our students to start doing. Here, what you can ask your student is to record themselves. So it can be even a voice recording where they explain any topic during their break times. So this is another activity that you can ask your child to perform during the breaks that they are going to take. What they can do is they can take a topic and they can read it thoroughly, and then they speak or explain it by themselves without any notes or without anything in front of them to read it out from. Whatever they have understood, they explain it to themselves. They record their own voice, and after that they listen to it whenever they have time, whenever they are eating, or they want to take another break, they can just listen to their own recording. If they make a video of their own explaining, that is even better. They can watch the video and it will be fun as well as much better for them to keep it in mind. This is also a very, very effective practice where the student is said to remember a lot if he or she explains it in their own words, and later on if they watch it, they are going to remember it for a much longer time before exam, right? So we have also started doing this particular practice with our students. We have started giving them video homeworks for this reason. As you can see on the screen, I have 2 pictures of the students who have submitted excellent video homeworks to us and have spoken really nice on topics that were given to them. This has been accepted by the students in a much better way. Students are actually excited to record themselves and speak. We have seen that students have done really well given the option to write and to speak. They have actually spoken much better. So another practice that you all can try, which is innovative, fun, as well as a very effective one, is task-based playlists. And the last thing that I'll suggest is digital time management apps. So apart from all these things that they can do during the break, during that 25 minutes, there is something that they can do which is very fun and they can enjoy as well. Is there are a lot of apps that help the child to focus for a duration of time, giving them a sense of game or sense of achievement at the end. I'll just give one small example of an app, that is Forest. So here what happens is you are given a seed when you log in, and then you are given different durations of time which you select for whatever duration your child is going to read and study and complete his tasks. You have to put in all the tasks that your child is to set child is set to accomplish in that particular duration, and then you keep the phone aside and the child starts completing the task. After that particular hour, the child can see that the seed has grown into a complete tree, if only if he ticks off all the tasks that he has done. So the more tasks he completes, the tree keeps growing. But if he cannot complete any task, the tree dies. So this is there are a lot of other apps as well, but this is something that is very interesting and will give the child something to look forward to after completing the tasks. This is something that will give them a sense of achievement, and with that motivation they are going to get interest to study harder, right? So these were some of the techniques for time management. Studying for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and then taking breaks. And during those breaks, be very sure that your child is in touch with the study as well. So even during the breaks, give them brain teasers, give them activity-based games to play, and all different kinds of tasks, interesting tasks that will help them feel that they are taking a break, no pressure, but they're also in touch with the subjects. Next, we come to the topic of smart revision techniques. So once the child has studied, this part is something that always confuses the child, right? So they're always very tense as to, I have to revise for 5 or 10 times before I sit for the exam, which is not necessary. Studying very thoroughly is something that will help them retain 70% of what they have studied. And then revision is for the rest 30%, right? So active recall. Active recall is always better than passively reading. Keep on, like children keep on reading the same thing uh, after another during revisions, which is not actually helping them to revise. Revise is to make sure that you remember what you have studied, right? So for revision, you will have to start practicing active recall with your child. How can you do that? You can ask them to tell you what they remember. So this active recall is actually connected to my third point, that is teach the material. So you can ask your child to teach you whatever they have learned. This is again a very effective way to help improve their speaking as well as their retention capacity. So the child learns something, the child reads something, you give them enough time to grasp the concept, and then you ask them to explain it to you. And you will have to make sure that you make them feel that they are the teacher that time and you are the student. So give them space and give them that enough time to explain things to you. And once they are done, you can help them point out at, like, in which particular places they missed something or they need to read again, right? But during them speaking, you have to let them speak whatever they have understood. That will give you a better sense of idea as to where they are lacking in their explanation as well. So that is the best way to revise. And another part is flashcards. So while they are studying, a kind of help that you can provide to them is to make flashcards. So you make small flashcards, colored cards. On one side you write a question, and on the other side you can write the answer. And then after they are done studying, you can just start a very interactive quiz with them. You ask the question, they answer, and then you show the answer to them. If it's correct, it's correct, and if it's wrong, then they can see it for themselves. It adds a suspense and it is fun as well. Lastly, this is something that even we have used in our school time, that is mnemonics. So utilizing mnemonic devices and acronyms have been really useful, and it actually helps the student remember a lot of different things in one particular topic in a much effective way. So for those who are not aware of how a mnemonic device or acronym works, I'll tell you. You take the first letter of all the different words that you need to remember and you make up another word, or you take the first letter of all the different words that you need to remember, and you make another phrase with the first letters. So you remember the phrase, and then you remember all the first letters that the words are starting with, and you remember all the words that you are supposed to. So this is a mnemonic device or an acronym that helps you remember lists or sequences. For example, the very common mnemonic device that we have is Vibgyor. Vibgyor is the mnemonic device to remember all the 7 colors of rainbow. So accordingly, all the students can make according to their comfort and however long they need their mnemonic devices to be, right? Now, after all these things, we have to always remember that we have to keep telling the child that they have to be calm. No matter what happens, nothing is the end of the world. No exam is the end of the world, and we have to help them overcome this fear, because the sooner we start doing this, the better they are going to react to exams when they face much bigger exams in future, right? The very first thing is deep breathing exercises, meditation. So if any of your child is really like gets really anxious or is really panicky during this exam season, I'll suggest start taking 30 minutes or 10 minutes, even 10 minutes of quiet time with a very soothing music. Closing their eyes and just sitting really helps them to focus all their attention and feel at calm, right? Physical activity. So, like I said, for adults, it is different. We can take a 5 minutes nap and then get back to our work. But for children, if they take a nap in the break time, their brain is completely going to cut them off from whatever they have studied. So it is really important for them to be active, not just mentally or emotionally, but physically as well. If they do exercise, or they go out to play, they are going to like stay in their own mind, and they are going to stay awake from all the senses, right? So it is really important for your child to not cut off the entire physical activity part during this exam season. No matter how stressful it is, 30 minutes, if you can take them out for 30 minutes, if you can just take them out, let them run, let them play, and then come back and they start studying, it is going to be much like they will be very refreshed, and they'll be able to retain and study better. They will be able to feel much relaxed if they go out even for 30 minutes. So physical activities for children during this particular exam season is really important. Listening to calming music, setting realistic goals. Again, this is something that is very important, and this is something that we can do from our end as teachers, as parents. So setting realistic goals is something that we need to understand. We cannot set one particular goal for one age group, or for one grade. Like there is this one goal for all the students of grade 1, or for all the students of age 15. That is not how we should be setting a goal. We should be setting a goal according to each individual student. Setting realistic goal is going to help them keep their confidence level, as well as help them not feel like they are falling behind from their friends, right? So you will have to be very particular as to what kind of goals you are setting for your child as well. This is something that is going to make or break their future reactions to exams or their confidence level. This really affects their confidence level as well. So help them set realistic goals. Next is digital detox. Even though we have discussed about all the digitally effective and interactive platforms and everything that they can do that to help themselves during this exam season digitally, I'll still say a digital detox right before their exam day is really necessary. So they have done their entire studies, session, they have completed their revision, they have done all of it, and just before their exam day, I'll say they should put away their phones and laptops. They should eat and sleep early and then wake up the next day and directly go for the exam. So that particular amount of digital detox is really necessary for every child. Progress celebration. Like I said, reward based techniques for studying, for time management, all these small celebrations, or even you saying very good or excellent to them once in a while when they are actually achieving what they have set their goal to be, is going to help them feel much more confident and is going to work as a charm for motivation to them. We at Instrucko as well always keep in mind to appreciate, no matter how small their goal was or no matter what they have achieved, we always appreciate our children for achieving what the goal, whatever goal they have set, because that was the goal that they set and they actually achieved it. So be very gentle and be very expressive with your child. Appreciate them on every aspect that they achieve, right? And finally, keeping calm during the exam. So two of the very important times when the student needs to be calm is before the exam and during the exam as well. So during the exam, there are only three things that I would suggest you tell your child. That is to breathe and stay calm. Once they get the question paper, they should be really, really calm and focused. They should read the question paper very carefully. Now, this is something that even when I take classes and I see some of my students are getting stuck on some activity, I ask them to do some other. Look at the entire activity and complete the one that you know you can. This is something that gives them an instant boost of confidence, and no matter how stuck they were on the first one, they will circle back to it and find the answer to it. So they should read the question paper. They should mark all the questions that they know they can answer right away. And they start with that. And then they go back to the questions that needs their attention and focus. And I'm sure they are going to they are going to circle back to it and they are going to find their answers. Right? This is a very important step that every student should start practicing and should attempt the questions in that manner. And lastly, tell them to take their time, not to hurry, not to keep looking at the time as to how much time is left. Obviously, they need to finish their paper in that particular amount of time, but with no hurry from the beginning itself. They should take their time, read the question paper, segregate the questions, like I said, the ones that are easy, that can be done by them, and the ones that needs their more attention or focus or something that they need to think about, segregate it properly, and then start their exam, right? So this is everything that I wanted to discuss on their exam season, how they can make it better, how you can help them make it better, interesting, interactive, fun, all these aspects. Now, I would like to ask everyone who is present here if you have any questions that you would like to discuss, anything that you would like to share. I'm all ears. And yeah, anyone, anything. Also, I would request everyone to just turn on their cameras now that we are at the end of almost end of the session. I would really like to ask everyone to turn on their cameras. Hi, Dipali. So we have one of our very own Instrucko Dipali with us, who can also take questions from anyone who is having any questions, any doubts, anything you would like to share with us.
Jesse, I'll just add something.
Yes, absolutely, sure.
Great. So, hi everyone, I'm Instrucko Dipali. So, I'm a subject expert for English and mathematics. And the fun part is, both of them, though they're two different entities, but they're not separate from each other. One common thing that I see a lot in is the fear of mathematics, right? But why is that fear inculcated in students? Because we are not born with any fear, right? It's a fear that's there, given by some external force. So whenever we have assessed or reviewed a child, why the child has a fear of mathematics, mostly it's the word problems or story sums, and it's a linguistic issue, not a mathematical problem. If you tell them that you've got to do addition, subtraction, then they'll be able to do it like in a jiffy. But the problem comes that they are not able to comprehend the entire question, and that's a linguistic issue. So then we have to go back down, we have to disintegrate like where the problem is, tell them to read the question sentence by sentence and explain it in their mother tongue, and then go ahead and understand, like if they're not very good in understanding and comprehending English, that's the reason they're not able to solve mathematical questions. So they're not separate entities. So that's one point. And the other thing that we see mostly in English is children, as Shesi was sharing, that they're very good in speaking, but there are sometimes they're not very good in articulating when it comes to writing part. And the reason is that they're not reading enough. So if you do not read enough, you won't be able to write proper, because the vocabulary, the words are not seen by you. When you listen, you're able to speak good. And when you read more, then you're able to write. So it's LSRW in all the languages across the world. So the more they read, the more they'll be able to see that word. That word will fit into the imaginary imagery of your brain, and thus when you have to write, the brain will be able to replicate that word on the paper. So if your child is able to speak very well but not able to write, then you have to go down, disintegrate, and see if your child is reading enough. And if it's vice versa, your child is able to write question answers very nicely but isn't creative, that means he has not heard good English enough. So it has to go to listening first and then come speaking. Well, any questions if anyone has, we're more than happy to resolve that. Thanks, Tracy.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing your insights. It was really helpful and really apt, I'll say. So, anyone, any questions? Because we are at the end of the session. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining, and it was really great. Uh, I, it was really nice, and thank you, Dipali, for joining as well. Thank you, and all the best to all the students who are giving the exams.
Thank you. All the best, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.